So it seems like a lot of Star Wars fans' dreams are finally coming true in Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni retconning the sequel trilogy. Yes, you heard that right. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are retconning the sequel trilogy, and I have all the proof to show you in this video that this is happening. Let's check it out. So we all know that a big wish for a lot of Star Wars fans, a lot of people have been begging for the sequel trilogy to be retconned, and for one main reason, and that is Luke Skywalker and the way that Luke Skywalker was portrayed. Yes, there was a lot of mistakes in the sequel trilogy. Yes, there were a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of things that Star Wars fans didn't agree with. Another major thing being that the big three were never together in one scene. The Han, Luke, and Leia scene never happened in the sequel trilogy. I don't know how much worse a missed opportunity can get than that. It just seems like a no-brainer to have the big three, to have the three main characters of the original trilogy coming back together for a scene together again in the Millennium Falcon. It's so easy. That one scene can make an entire movie. That one scene can make a mediocre movie or even a bad movie good because of how emotional you can get from that scene. Just think of the Luke Skywalker cameo in the Mandalorian season 2 finale. For people like me, I'm not saying objectively the show is mediocre, because even I think the show is a little bit above mediocre, but I was honestly disappointed with the second season. You know, I wasn't that into the first season either until episode 3 when all the Mandalorians came in to rescue Din. Then I got really excited. Then I got really into that season because I was like, okay, this is the Star Wars that I want to see. But in the Mandalorian season 2, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I was pretty disappointed. I was pretty underwhelmed until the Luke Skywalker scene happened. That made me have a whole different outlook on the Mandalorian season 2. If you have that Han, Luke, and Leia scene, if you portray Luke in the proper way in the sequel trilogy, it could change the tide. It could have changed the tides for the entire sequel trilogy, for the entire for the entire general public perception of the sequel trilogy, no matter how mediocre the movies were outside of that. If we got to see the Luke Skywalker from Legends, if we got to see the Luke Skywalker that we all wanted, if we got to see the scene of Han, Luke, and Leia together, along with other many missed opportunities that were in the sequel trilogy, if we would have got those opportunities, if they wouldn't have missed all the ones that they did miss, it could have changed everyone's outlook on the sequels. And it seems like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going in the direction, and I have some proof to show you in 1 second of that. It seems like they're going in the direction that they're trying to retcon the sequel trilogy, or at least do all that they can in the time that they are given to make the sequel trilogy better and to change the bad parts like the Luke Skywalker stuff and all of the other missed opportunities, all the other things that they did extremely wrong. It seems like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have a major interest in either retconning the sequels or improving all the opportunities that they missed. So in this video that Doomcock did with Cameron Pasha, they talk about a lot of different things, including proof that the Lucasfilm Civil War is happening, including proof that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are retconning the sequels. There's a few clips that I want to show you in this video and talk about them as well. Let's get right into it.
The act structure play out in the last several months with 3 articles. We've seen the first act was that Forbes article that came out saying Bob Chapek, he's not in control. That's a really bad situation. What they did with Gino Carano is bad. So that act 1. Act 2, we see a Hollywood Reporter article come out several months later saying Bob Chapek is taking control. He's butting heads. That's act 2. And act 3, we see this article come out, which is essentially saying Bob Chapek has taken control, and the old world, the failed version of Star Wars is over. And what's amazing about this article is that it actually lists the two the protagonist and antagonist of the story. The antagonist being Miss Kathleen Kennedy, the protagonist being Jon Favreau, right? And it actually lists them by name.
So that is very true. While the Forbes article and the Hollywood Reporter article kind of hinted at Kathleen Kennedy doing a very bad job and Jon Favreau being kind of the savior of Star Wars and the Star Wars universe, they never really mentioned Kathleen Kennedy by name. They did mention Bob Chapek, they did mention the Disney management, but they never directly went at Kathleen Kennedy, and that's because Disney feeds these people, Lucasfilm feeds these people the information that they are allowed to put out in these articles, and now Disney is feeding them the information that you need to start trashing on Kathleen Kennedy a bit more, because her time at Disney, her time at Lucasfilm is coming to an end. That's the only explanation for this. The Atlantic would not be writing articles attacking Kathleen Kennedy's management if they weren't coming to a close with Kathleen Kennedy at Disney, with Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. Jon Favreau is taking over, and all of these articles, like Cameron Pasha said, he put it in such a great way that this is a 3-act structure. The Forbes article is act 1, the Hollywood Reporter article was act Act 2, and now the Atlantic article is Act 3, each of them getting worse and worse for Kathleen Kennedy. And outside of that, I've said it so many times, I've said it in so many different videos, but it seems like every single day we have more news that points towards Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni taking over, but not only that, but also pointing towards Kathleen Kennedy not being in Disney's favor anymore. Disney doesn't really like Kathleen Kennedy that much, and it seems like we get news more and more every single day. Stuff like the High Republic not really being pushed anymore on social media. You don't really see them advertising the High Republic on the YouTube channel anymore, on Twitter, on Instagram. The High Republic just kind of fizzled out. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make any more new books. A lot of people are saying, oh, they got a new High Republic book coming next month. You sound stupid, all that stuff. If the High Republic book is coming out next month, then that means that book is already written. I'm saying that they're not going to hire any more writers. They're not going to make any more new books starting now, because I just think that the High Republic was a huge failure. And also, it's Kathleen Kennedy's baby. The High Republic wouldn't be made without Kathleen Kennedy. So now that she is going away, now that she is not renewing her contract in October, the High Republic is also going away at the same time.
I know for a fact it's real. You know, while I don't claim to be deeply...
They're talking about the Civil War here, by the way.
...connected inside of Lucasfilm. In fact, I apparently have quite a few adversaries inside that company. I know for a fact that the Civil War is real in the sense that, as I've said before, one of my close friends is one of Jon Favreau's inner circle crew members who goes with him from project to project to project to project. And he told me directly last year that Mr. Favreau hated The Last Jedi and essentially had contacted Disney himself and said that, can I help you fix this? I love this property. Can I help you fix this?
So what Cameron Pasha is saying here is that Jon Favreau, before he was hired by Lucasfilm, before he was hired by Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, he actually reached out to Disney and Lucasfilm and said, hey, I don't think the direction that you're going with Star Wars right now is a very good direction for long-term success. And we already know that Jon Favreau has said multiple times that he is very well connected with the fandom. He listens to the fans for feedback. You already know that Jon Favreau was connected with the fandom before he got the job. He already knew that Star Wars fans weren't really liking the sequel trilogy. They weren't really liking the Disney content as much as we liked the OT and the prequel trilogy. So whenever he reached out to Disney and Lucasfilm, they probably realized, oh look, the fans actually don't like this stuff that much. Let's let Jon Favreau take the Mandalorian, see what he can do with the Mandalorian, and if he does end up winning a lot of the fans back with that, let's let him do even more to see if he can get all of these fans back for the future content. All the fans that they lost during the sequel trilogy era, all the fans that they lost with all the other mediocre stuff that they did. Jon Favreau truly is the savior of Star Wars, and he has been ever since he got hired. But here is where they talk about the sequel trilogy being retconned by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Once Kathleen Kennedy is gone, that has been their plan the whole time. And if Jon Favreau really did contact Disney and Lucasfilm before he was hired and said, let me help you fix Star Wars, then that 100% proves the fact that they want to retcon the sequel trilogy, that they want to fix everything that they possibly can within the sequel trilogy, and this would make so many fans happy. Let's check out what Cameron Pasha and Doomcock have to say about this.
I won't give them any money. I haven't given them a penny since, The Last Jedi, and I will not until certain victory conditions are realized. One of them was, Kennedy no longer has control over Star Wars. I think that victory condition is coming to pass. The sequel trilogy cannot stand in terms of canon. We cannot live with Luke Skywalker being everything.
I've heard it separately. A friend of mine who is a very successful screenwriter, much more successful than me, sent me, actually before I think you had put out some of the videos, he sent me a message. It was very interesting. He sent me, this was a gentleman that had that was able to leak to me the script for Colin Trevorrow's episode 9 that was never filmed. And he's obviously incredibly well connected into Lucasfilm or into that camp to get that and share it with me. And so he had said to me out of nowhere, he sent me this DM the same way that he had sent me a DM about the Trevorrow script, which came out of nowhere. And I think it's because he knew that I had relations with people like yourself and was at least known on YouTube. He doesn't do that. He's too smart to do that. Out of nowhere, he sends me this DM. So just want to let you know, I'm hearing that that Dave Filoni has a plan specifically to erase the thing, and it's already been seeded and we're watching it play out.
So there you go, all the speculation that has been going around with Doomcock, with people like me, ABJ, all these other Star Wars YouTubers, all these Star Wars fans that are watching this video, that watch all of these videos, that have been speculating this whole time that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have this plan to make the sequel trilogy better, to erase the sequel trilogy maybe altogether. It seems like right there, Cameron Pasha, who if you don't know is a Hollywood insider, has worked on a lot of movies as a producer, as a screenwriter, as he said right there. You can look on his IMDb page. He actually has quite a lot of impressive credits. He knows what he's talking about. He's a Hollywood insider if there ever was one. And he had one of his friends who apparently is very close to Jon Favreau, who follows him around from set to set, say that Jon Favreau is not a fan of the sequel trilogy, and that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have had a plan this whole time to erase the sequels, to put their Star Wars, the true vision of Star Wars that all the Star Wars fans want, into place. So if that really happens, then Star Wars could really be saved. I myself am very optimistic for the future of Star Wars, but you can let me know what you guys think about the future of Star Wars in the comments. Let me know what you think about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni possibly retconning the sequel trilogy. Let me know if you believe Doomcock and Cameron Pasha here that plan will actually take place, that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau will actually be retconning the sequel trilogy. This could be huge if it's true, but let me know what you guys think in the comments if it's true or not. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord. Both the links will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one.